Hello. So this is the second week of doing the vlog for Miss Muslim. So I'm so happy y'all tuned in to join us. I'm doing something a little different and a little special this time. I have I call him like the Grandmaster Ustaz, but I think the appropriate title would just be the Sufi Master, who I work with very closely. Brother Daud Scott is on the phone. So since I'm not in my home state, Cali, I'm still visiting my parents in Ohio. We have to do the interview in the more unique way this time. So last week's topic was about Jinn, and I want to continue that conversation with Brother Dawood, and hopefully he can give us some more specific insights into this very serious and important topic. So, Brother Dawood, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Assalamu alaikum, Jihan. Assalamu alaikum, everyone listening out there. Hope you're all at peace and in good health and in a good position to always be open to what Allah has to give us, inshallah.
Inshallah. So, I kind of want to step back a little bit and talk about how can one tell if there really are in presence of jinn or a genie.
Okay, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد وسلم تسليما كثيرا. So to the quick and the short of it, as we unfold this answer, is in reality we're always in their presence, and even so much so that Allah Subhanahu wa Taala recorded in Al Quran in Surah Al-72 Al-Jinn of even how they even encircled the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam to hear the words of the Quran being revealed. So we're always in their presence. Allah created them before us. Some of the ulama say, some of the scholars say that between 40,000 and 50,000 years before the creation of humankind.
Oh, wow.
So we're always in their presence as we share the world with them, and it's not just jinn. Allah created nas, man, al-jinn, and so many times throughout the Quran, Allah saying, and other beings that you have no knowledge of.
Right.
So we're in their presence, and I think specifically the question that you're particularly answering is how do we know if we're in the presence of harmful jinn?
Mm-hmm.
So I'll start by saying, as Muslims, we always try to, think to the right and be positive and to be good, and always, and, we don't try to think on these things. We don't seek them out because they have their world and they have our, we have our world and they have their world. However, from time to time, we may cross paths with a certain energy, whether you want to call that a jinn or a energy or vice versa. You have to understand there's different types of jinn, and we have to tell the difference between jinn and shaitan.
Okay.
And sometimes angelic energy, and there's, even other energies. So there could be Muslim jinn around us. There could be Christian jinn, there's Jewish jinn, there's unbelieving jinn that exist in this world. And like us, they have communities, and they have families, and, they, occupy this world with us. But to the specific point of your question, if we're sensing a harmful presence, so to speak, there's different categories for that. So I don't know if you want to jump right into that right away, or if you have a question before I actually get into that.
Well, that's kind of interesting that how can you decipher the difference between the negative jinn and then the angelic presence?
Okay. So the ones that are positive, just like there's someone who's negative will have negative energy around you. If there's positive, there'll be positive in your energy around you or in your home, and when you're out and about. With the negative energy, and especially in the homes, here's some of the major signs that you can usually look for. And again, this is a very high level topic, and the shuyukh, have much more knowledge on this, especially my teacher, Sheikh Abdul Karim and Maulana Sheikh Muhammad Nazim has spoken to us very on just a few things that we can look for that let us know that there may be a presence in the home. One, the inability to keep our prayer area clean. So if there's a harmful presence of jinn, in the home, usually where you pray, you have a hard time keeping it clean.
Okay, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Dirtiness and clutterness is a sign of mischievous, harmful jinn, especially in the area that you are trying to pray and do worship in. Another sign is consistent family argumentation, believe it or not. And sometimes that can actually happen as a result of our actions, and we invite that, or vice versa. It really doesn't matter, but that could also be one of the signs. Another is feeling okay 1 minute, and then when it comes time to pray, feeling the heaviness, not wanting to do it. And I'm not talking about if you're out and about or at work or at a meeting or doing something. I'm just talking about when you're at home and relaxed and everything is good and it's time to come in and to do ibadah. This sense of heaviness, comes over you. And then I would say probably lastly, just consistent negative waswas, whisperings. Whisperings into the ear and into the heart. And I'll just keep it basic at that.
Okay.
Those are usually some telltale signs of, something may be going on, around you, around the home, or wherever you, and it's not specified to the home, it could be wherever. But as I say, as Muslims, the aim is to not seek that, however, to be aware that these things do exist. Inshallah.
Okay, that was really insightful. Last week I gave a quick tutorial on burning bahoud and that resin. I'm sure you're familiar with bahoud, to kind of rid the negative energies in the home. And I'm a really big believer in that stuff and using herbs for those reasons. But I feel like there may be a little gray area, and I would hate to advise people into doing sihr of any kind. Is there any type of Islamic jurisprudence regarding using any type of herbs for that reason?
Okay, Bismillah. Everything is starting with Nia. So, we know, first and foremost, the best thing to clear energies in the house is the recitation of the Quran and al-dhikr, especially verbal dhikr. But as far as the herbs and the smells, there is some hikmah to certain things. And even our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam spoke about that the angels like the sweet smells, to burn sweet smells in your home, to smell good, to be good, go to the mosque smelling good. Why? Because that attracts specific energies. Now, as far as putting our only trust within that's where people can go astray.
Okay.
However, if Nia is good, first and foremost, just to be clean, the Nia is everything. Your brain is why? Because you want clean. And cleanliness and the purification comes from who? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's my knowledge of, that aspect of it. Because I know, even in the Native American culture, it has affected, that world greatly, especially with sage and jasmine and rose, and there are a lot of healing properties to the mind, in particularly the as we know, the whirling dervishes of, in Turkey, before they begin their ceremonies, a lot of them apply jasmine wood. Why? Because it's been shown that jasmine affects the heart and suppresses depression, right?
Yeah.
So there is a link between herbology and aromatherapy, and in that sense, healing and purification
kind of threw that question in there on you.
Yes.
So lastly, and I think more importantly, do you have any good tips for how we can kind of safeguard ourselves and shield ourselves as a means of protection? So, for God forbid, we don't get, overtaken by any of those negative forces.
Yes, and these are coming directly from, my teachers, and the teachers of the way. One of the best ways that you can do, like immediately, like starting today, and this will vary, from men to women, just due to, different things that we go through biologically. But how, as much as you can, actually stay in wudu. Wudu is not just for prayer. Actually, wudu is a force field for protection against negative energy. Most of the harmful jinn and the harmful shayateen they're made out of what? We know that they're made out of fire. So when you're constantly, putting, the bright light of water, the purification on your body, and we say in the Sufi path, in the path of Tasawwuf, make wudu twice, light upon light. You're adding more light to your light. So that's actually a protective or force field. And water is the universal symbol of purification and the putting out of the heat and dark energy. Second thing I would say is give sadaqah. Lots and lots of sadaqah as much as possible.
Okay.
In particular, Sheikh Muhammad al-Ghani used to always say, keep a little jar in your house, depending on where you are, if that be your bank account or whatnot. And when you go out every day, go out with the intention to try to put, $1, a quarter, whatever you've accumulated throughout the days, to give it to someone, because that stops so many tragedies from coming to you. And it stops so many harmful negative energies coming to you, because that's what they look for. Those dark forces look for an opening. They look for something weak within you. And one of the best things to do in this world is to help someone, either financially or to feed them. So when you're giving that out, that's actually stopping so many harmful things coming to you.
That is so interesting. I had never heard of that before. Thank you so much for that.
Oh yeah. No, you're welcome. This is how we stay on the path, And of course, this is, extra to doing what we should try to do. And so in addition to giving out, those sadaqah, is to really think of Allah, to be mindful of Allah, to be present of Allah, to be not in ghaflat or heedlessness. I say this all the time. We're in a world now where everything is so compartmentalized. After our salah is done, we finish, then we go on our job, or we go, driving down the highway, or wherever we're going. Our mind is somewhere else. If we can just once in a while start bringing our mind to know that I am in the presence of Allah. Who is Allah? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the great supreme source of all light and love, who created you. So the more you connect, with that, that is how we keep that dark energy away. And that's how we continue to shine for others. And we become a beacon for others, inshallah. And then, and lastly, keep Quran reciting in your home. These are not empty words. These are not, it's not a book. Our Quran is from beyond the beyond. And we're fortunate that he revealed it, over the period of 23 years to our Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This Quran is literally the words of Allah. And when those words of Allah are echoing and are being recited, it permeates into the walls, it permeates, into our food, it permeates into our skin, and most importantly, it should permeate into our hearts, because if it can permeate into our hearts, that controls everything that we
such a perfect ending. That was so beautiful. I wish this conversation could just keep going on for forever because I have 1,000 questions, but it may not be an appropriate time.
As you like.
Well, one last question, and then hopefully it won't cause a stir or bother anyone. But in my own experience, I've noticed, especially since working with you and taking on this path with you, I've noticed that the more I'm mindful with zikr and my salah and all that, I find myself more sensitive to not the negative forces, but sensitive to being aware of other presence, or even just identifying it on someone where, like, for example, my friend who works in the hospital. I mean, every time I see him, I'm like, ugh, you've just got funk on you. I feel like he carried the funk from the hospital because he's always around something so negative. Do you find that to be true as a positive thing about someone's spiritual journey, where the more they're working towards their own spiritual path, they're more sensitive? Does that make sense, or am I just kind of babbling?
No, it absolutely makes sense, and being able to be aware of it is how you will survive this. Quite bluntly, as the more you become aware of Allah, the more that you do dhikr of Allah, the more you start thinking of your place in this world. You have to change. You are going back to your root, to the root of yourself, what we call the fitra. So, yes, you're in the same way that you have arms and legs and eyes and ears and a nose and feet. We have a spiritual body. For so many people, they've been asleep for so long, but when we start to wake, those different sensations become heightenedly, we become aware. And sometimes it can be, it's very pleasant, it's very sweet, and at other times we feel like, oh my goodness, how can I carry this? How can I, be in this body, and not freak out?
Yeah.
Or how can I be in this body and still function as a quote unquote normal, i.e. put in wherever you live in this world. Because we have all these layers and layers of perception of what we think that we are. But once we start doing the work, once we start doing the dhikr, it all starts coming apart. And our energies are open, and we can feel people a mile away. And I'll end it with this. This is why in the hadith Qudsi, it is said, beware of the vision of a believer, a true believer, because they see with the eyes of Allah, and they reach with the hands of Allah, and they move with the will of Allah. In other words, that light, and in other words, not that they are Allah, no, of course not, Hasha, but however, they are accessing those God-given spiritual qualities that Allah has put in each and every soul in this world. And a person like that can see from here beyond. But that's another subject.
So basically, you just gave me, the green light to calling myself Superwoman. That's definitely what I just heard.
Maybe in time you'll get
humbly, right? Thank you so much. Is there any last words you'd like to leave us with?
No. May you all be in peace and good health, and may Allah bless the work that you are doing. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue to bless our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the people of the path, and anyone who's going through any difficulty or any challenge. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala lift your burden, give you strength, and give you the ability to begin to feel the presence of the mightiness and majesty while we are alive in this body. Inshallah.
I mean, thank you so much. P.S. I'm going to call you right after this.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam. Okay, so that I think wraps up the second episode. This one's a bit too long, but thank you so much for tuning in. And if you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out to me on jihan@missmuslim.nyc. If you have any other questions for Ustaz Daud, hit me up, and then I'll forward on his information to you as well. Thank you so much.